I've got the looks and the charm of an old movie star. Cary Grant, if you will, so I find it bizarre that this girl should refuse to step into my car. She must be shy, she'll come around, it's just a matter of time. Aurora, Aurora.
Hey there, Screen Beans, and welcome to Screen Snark, a podcast that celebrates all of the shows that are in our eyes, on our minds, and in our hearts. I am Rachel Corky Shank.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Woo! Back at it.
Back at it. I feel like all the listeners will be disappointed if we don't say to some degree that we're back at it or back on our bullshit or back to doing it.
Just forever on our bullshit. Without question.
It's also fairly obvious that we aren't great at introing our own episodes. Like, we have your spiel, but then it's like, woo, the thing. Yeah. Let's do it.
Maybe we should start with, like, a prompt, before we get into it and just be like, ooh, what should we talk about? But it's always just like, we're back. We're a couple of assholes. Ha-ha. I mean, why are you listening?
I mean, to be fair, you would think I'd be more professional at this with 3 other podcasts besides this one, but nope. No, I'm not.
No, here's the deal. What I think is the medium of the podcast is a medium that is predicated on everyone enjoying everyone's humanity.
That's true.
And I think that whenever we're like, look at us, just a couple assholes, like whatever, it comes from a place of us being authentic, and I think that's great. And I feel like I'm in the habit of starting the show with like, here's the thing about the show and why there's value in the show we're doing,
validating ourselves on our own shore.
You know what, I just need it. I just need to remind myself why I'm here, strapped to a laptop with a beer, watching my poor sweet darling partner play video games with his headphones on because he's like, I'm gonna go be quiet.
Yeah, I'm going to go do something that's not listening to you talk by. I think we've had a long enough delay on not introducing our guest, so I will do so now. The incredible Pat Edwards is joining us. Thank you for being on the show, Pat.
Hi, all my buddies.
I met Pat through the Let's Rewatch crew. He's a member of that podcast, as well as an author with the book Space Trippin', which is on Amazon shelves now. Do Amazon have shelves? Sure, probably.
Yes, they do. I know that because of watching the terrible working conditions of the Amazon warehouse on
fair.
Last Week Tonight.
Yep, I was about to make a joke about that.
They do have shelves, and it's a bad
shelves.
place. And just to get ahead of it, just in case anybody's wondering, fuck Jeff Bezos.
Sure.
Fuck him in his nostrils.
Yeah,
with
go
buy
Pat's book, but fuck Jeff Bezos.
But fuck
you can
Jeff
go
Bezos.
to your local indie bookstore, and if they don't have it, they can order it through Ingram.
There you go.
So it's literally wherever books are sold. So if
Wherever
you want
you
to
can
support
get
your
'em.
local indie, I am all about that. Unfortunately, if you want the audio, it is an Audible exclusive, which is owned by Amazon. So
Yeah. It's okay. Jeff Bezos has like all of our money. But you know what? Even though he's totally taking my money all of the time, fuck him.
Yeah. Legit.
Do you make that sentiment known every episode?
No,
just this one in particular.
Oh.
Well,
because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Daily Zeitgeist. They open every episode by saying "fuck Fox News" and "fuck Cook Industries."
That's very good.
That's excellent.
Yes.
Before we get into too much detail about Pat and all the stuff he's working on, we'll get to that in a bit. But I think, as always, we will start by talking about the things we've consumed most recently.
Yes.
I also just want to say I'm really excited to slowly acquire like a collection, all of the hosts of Let's Rewatch individually. Although when Case had Brett and Sam on, had them together, which makes sense because they are together.
Mm-hmm.
So we may do the same, but I like slowly collecting podcast hosts as guests on the show.
Hopefully out the gate, you guys are all talking about the right thing. I don't know if you've listened to their episodes.
I have. Yes, that was very funny that Brett and Sam were on 2 episodes of Another Pass because the first time Case watched the wrong movie called Avatar. Because they both said Avatar. They meant The Last Airbender, but Case
Case
thought
watched
they meant
Blue
Avatar
Cat
the
Alien
movie.
Sex Avatar.
And so
Man.
that was hilarious.
There's gotta be a fan edit of either like the video and audio from one to the other of Avatar and The Last Airbender. There has to be. I would
feel
love
like-
that so much, just to hear like someone calling Sam Worthington's sexy blue cat character like Aang or Ong or whatever they're doing. I would really be into that. So if anybody's listening and knows that weird fan edit exists, please slide it into my DMs. Thank you very much.
But we have no requirement of what you watch when talking on this podcast, so it makes
Nope.
it a lot easier.
We're lawless and ruleless and pantsless.
Yes. I'm shirtless, but not pantsless, for what it's worth.
I'm wearing
The,
both because I thought we were going to do a video. So I.
That's fair. That's fair. As you can see, Pat, we take this podcast very seriously.
It's
I mean,
It's
podcasting
serious.
is serious, guys.
serious
serious
business.
project, you know.
But I'm going to try and attempt to get us back on the rails. Shout out to Scott Thomas, and we move along.
Friend of the podcast.
And so the thing I was going to talk about most recently that I watched is a show I've been watching with my spouse, the new She-Ra cartoon. But
Ooh.
I had remembered that I just started watching the second season of a show that I really like and I want to really talk about. Not that She-Ra is not worth talking about. I think the new She-Ra is fantastic.
Yeah,
And
rules.
I will talk about it at length another time. But I haven't finished the most recent season, so I want to save it till I do that. But the current show, I feel like people care a lot less about spoilers, which, beating around the bush, getting to what I'm actually talking about, it is the Netflix original series from the creator of Futurama and The Simpsons, Disenchantment.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched the first season. Is the second one just came out, right?
It just dropped like without any news or anything like a week ago, and I saw a tweet. Someone retweeted the Disenchantment Twitter saying it was out, and I was like, holy shit. So I started watching it. Haven't finished it yet, but I wanted to talk about the show because I really actually do quite love it. And it got a lot of hate after the first season because pretty much everyone went, oh, it wasn't that funny. And I take issue with that because a lot of people are also going, oh, it's not Futurama. And like, it's the same problem I had with people who like put down Futurama because it wasn't The Simpsons. Like, these are different shows. The creator is the same. The look of the animation is the same, but these are different shows.
Yeah.
And what I really love about Disenchantment is it's not supposed to be funny all the time. It's actually supposed to have a lot more heart and be like a little more story driven than the other shows. Not that Futurama didn't have a narrative hook, because it did for most of it. But there were also a lot of like insert wacky episode about shenanigans here. Whereas Disenchantment isn't like that from start to finish, because the seasons are being released whole hog. It's got an arc from beginning to end. Like, there's no let's go on a random adventure episode. Sometimes there's like things that they get into that can be a little disconnected, but for the most part, it's a big, long fantasy story arc, which, based on what it's parodying, like Lord of the Rings and other fantasy properties that are escaping me at the moment, like, that's the point. Like, it's supposed to spoof the epic and be an epic itself. And so I've really been digging the second season. I love the main cast. Eric Andre as Lucy the Demon is probably my favorite character. Mostly because I also just love Eric Andre, but also because that character is genuinely really great. Have both of you seen the first season?
I have.
No, I watched part of the first season and then sort of dipped off with it. It just, there was something about it that didn't really like capture me in the right way. I think it's because I do play a lot of like high fantasy role playing games that
Sure.
also are like very irreverent, but also have a lot of heart. So it's just like, I emotionally can't handle this one right now. My D&D character is like super pregnant with a vampire baby, and it's just like, I need to watch something
I love
else.
D&D.
Oh, D&D's
Yeah.
so weird. Yeah.
It's
My
so
my
great.
poor vampire child. Bad things happened. So now that that's done and that baby's out of my character's body, I could maybe watch it.
I mean,
Maybe.
it's not for everyone, and the first season did start off kind of slow. I'm curious what you thought of it, Pat.
So I'm going to watch the second season. I liked it. I wasn't any of those people ranting and raving. I also, as a principal, don't really say negative things on Twitter. I try not to.
That's a good policy.
Yeah, just because I feel like I made a decision early on. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to, unless I'm like saying something negative to shitty people in government.
Yeah,
but
that's totally legit.
So I would say it fell on the side of I liked it, as in I am going to watch the second season, but it didn't. It's not, obviously I didn't know it came out, and it's not something I was racing to. It's going to basically go in like my queue, whereas when I need something new, it's going to be one of those ones that kind of pops. I'm like, yep, all right, I'll watch that, and I liked it. I'm trying to remember from the first season if I had like the overall feeling. I felt there were a lot of times where maybe there could have been a more clever or maybe a little more inside baseball joke that could have been made, but they kind of went for the more generic mass appeal one, which I get. You're trying to make a show that is as many people will watch as possible. I'd say like overall positive experience. Like I said, I'm going to watch the second season at some point, but I would not say I loved it. I would say I liked it.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense. That seems to be the general consensus. I think for me, the reason I'm excited about the second season is because the series I felt got best towards the last few episodes when you learn the truth about the lead character's mom and some other stuff. Like, it got kind of really interesting. But that said, you know, I think also why I like it so much while I'm watching the second season now is because it doesn't require a lot of brain power. There's so much TV that's a commitment at this point, and a lot of that chases me away. I mean, as I've said many times on this show, I've still not watched Glow or Stranger Things, and part of it at this point now is there's so much of it, and it is more serious. You know, they still have moments of levity in both shows, but like it's a commitment to invest in watching those shows. Whereas I feel like Futurama and Simpsons before it, Disenchantment can be a little mindless, and I don't mind that. Like that it's, you know, a bunch of gags wrapped into an overarching story. Like, I mean, I used to watch when Futurama was still on Netflix. I used to watch it on loop. Like, I would just randomly pick an episode and just watch for hours. Like,
you
in the background.
You can really just like put that on. I will say though, I'm sad that Disenchantment second season didn't get such like a splash intro into the world, because I kid you not, friends, listeners and guest and host alike, I work near Union Square in New York, and they do a lot of weird like promotional things. Like I've gotten like free makeup and snacks, and like Twitter's taken over Union Square right now with like ads, and they were giving out candy. But the weirdest thing that ever happened in Union Square for a promotional thing was for Disenchantment, and it was a food truck. And like there was a character who's like dressed up like all medieval and like talking to people and like trying to get them to like participate in what was going on. But this food truck was giving away turkey legs.
Nice.
I did not stay in line to get a turkey leg, mind you, because it was a very long line to get these turkey legs. But that's so weird to me, where it's just like, hi, we're going to promote our Matt Groening Netflix show about high fantasy. How are we going to do that?
I love it.
Food truck? Turkey legs? Let's do it. It was so weird.
As a big-time food lover, and also the quirkiness of it. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also part of that is I feel like there's a throwaway gag in the first couple episodes about turkey legs. That sounds right to me. I can't recall what the gag is, but I feel
I want to go back and watch now.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you, Matt, that there's definitely a place for, I'll call it like candy TV. You know, like just turn your brain off. And it's just pure entertainment, because that's what all this is supposed to be, right? And also, I don't want to backtrack too far, but you made a comment. I'm there with you. The most emotional gut punches I ever feel or experience is when there's an a very serious emotional moment that's happening in a typically funny book, show, comic, whatever movie. Yeah. I feel like, because the comedy, the fun side, endears you to the characters so much more. Hardcore dramas, I don't feel that much for, because it's just been like a shitstorm for the whole movie or the whole show or something. Right. But a show or a movie or a book that's just been a lot of fun for the most part. But then when like a real moment happens, I feel like it hits so much harder.
it's funny you bring that up because we actually talked about a similar thing with Ash when we were talking about comedy. Like, I brought up, like, the reason Scrubs still has one of my favorite serious episodes is because it was from back-to-back episodes of Dr. Cox being a jerk and funny and all this stuff, and then he loses a patient, breaks down, and, like, it's just, like, that...
The Three Patients. You're talking about the show I've probably watched more than any other show ever. I've probably seen the entire series like 4 times all the way through.
Rachel and I were in a Scrubs themed burlesque show, so yeah.
We were.
gosh,
we
you're
were.
right.
I was the gooch.
You were the
that's
gooch.
It was
Amazing.
important, and also Colin Hay in a weird way.
Yeah,
like
that's
also
true.
that.
Yeah.
It was such a good.
That show
it was
is-
such a good
People,
show.
it doesn't get the credit it deserves.
No,
for
I
how
agree.
So great.
funny and great and just phenomenal. Like, just so good. Every emotion, tick, tick, tick. Yeah, and then 3 of the most like hardest hitting emotional moments I feel like are all from that show of my cinema. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, what's funny is that it's a show that weirdly is connected a lot of people. Like, we did that show, so I hosted the show as JD, and most of the burlesque performer introductions were voiceover I recorded, and then I, like, drifted off into thought, and the DJ played the voiceover, so it was
That's
like I was
amazing.
thinking out loud. And,
You know,
like...
the piano.
And so, like, people
love
really
that
connected
show.
with it. The funny thing is, Rachel in that, and I promise we'll get back to the thing we actually do on the show.
It's okay. It's okay.
Rachel-
Listen, if no one's doing a Scrubs podcast, I'm doing it.
Right, we should.
I used to joke before I even was doing podcasts. A friend and I were like, we should do one because one of my really, really good buddies from college, and everyone thought we were the weirdos because we would just talk in quotes of that show constantly and
All
talk
the
about
time.
that show constantly.
Yeah.
And neither of us knew how to do a podcast though, so it just kind of fell. But I would do it with your Scrub
Oh
Buds.
my gosh.
Scrub Buds.
Scrub Buds.
I love that.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah, I'll make references to jokes that people won't get. Like Rachel's performance in the show, even though she was the gooch, she played Overkill by Colin Hay because, of course, the first episode of the second season, like, that's an iconic moment.
Yeah.
But the best part is she kept coming out during the second half of the show.
I told no one that I was
Yeah.
going to do this. I was like, I am going to make everyone live in the emotional truth of me just not going away. Just like, just getting closer and louder and more belligerent every time I go, I can't get to sleep. Every time.
She would interrupt my hosting. At
Yep.
one point, she chased me around the venue.
I did.
It was excellent.
And then Dick Move, who was doing a Dr. Cox number, dragged me off stage.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a golden moment.
Can you play the
to
ukulele?
be sure. I can, yes.
Although, and you played that on uke, didn't you? Or did you
I
play on
did, yeah.
guitar?
I
You
played
did.
the theme song and Overkill on my
And
ukulele.
Overkill.
Who's
Yeah, it was
who's
pretty
looking
awesome.
over me right now on my wall. Hello, sweet pea. I love you.
Going back to Disenchantment, though.
Anyway, Disenchantment, an animated feature that has nothing to do with Scrubs.
So, yeah, again, I really like the show. I think that it doesn't get a fair shake. I think the main character, Tia Beanie, is a really interesting character, especially as a female lead who is kind of the cliche, like, unwilling princess archetype as far as, like, she's supposed to be a princess and supposed to be proper, and she's not, of course, and she's rebellious, wants to be a warrior, but they take some interesting turns with it, that it's not just a, anti-princess trope, and that it goes a little bit beyond that, especially as you find out more of her backstory. It's a fun show, and I think that people who might have jumped ship before finishing the season, I would implore that they give it a second chance. But that said, I'm excited to watch the rest of the second season, and I highly recommend it for those who haven't pulled the trigger on it yet.
Very cool. I like it. So, Matt, if you could sum up Disenchantment so far in 3 words, how would you do it?
There's your 3.
Yeah, I know, right?
I
Yeah, those are my 3. Let's see.
really ring an endorsement right there, Stormageddon.
Yeah. The one that I had on deck is 4 words.
Yeah. Too bad. Too bad.
But that doesn't work. It can't be 4 words. It has to be 3 words.
It has to be 3.
Drunk ass kicking. That's my 3-word review, because often the characters are drinking and kicking ass.
Oh, I thought you said truck ass kicking, and I was
Nope.
like, "Wait, there's a truck in it? This
There's
is
fantasy
apocryphal to be sure." Drunk ass kicking. I like it. I like it a lot. I'll give it a second shake.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear what you think once you've given it another shot.
Yeah, because I really did like the main character and the demon and stuff. Because like obviously like she's an empowered woman. She's doing it her own way. It's always great. And also I love Eric Andre. But yeah, no, I'll try it. Okay.
All right, Rachel, what's the most recent thing you have consumed lately?
Well, I guess we're on the fantasy train toot all the way through and until I'm done here. I can't remember. This is an important question that I'm going to ask Matt. Have I talked about Dark Crystal Age of Resistance on this show yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
I feel like we might have talked about it in brief, just talking about how it exists, but I don't know that you've talked about it as someone who's watched it, because
Cool,
I'd
'cause
remember that.
I definitely watched it, and I have a lot to say about it, because it's glorious in all of its shapes, forms, and fashions. It's perfect chef's kiss. I love it. Don't change it. It's so very good. But that's not what I'm bringing. But this is
Okay.
part of what I'm bringing. So, Dark Crystal Age of Resistance dropped on Netflix, and it is incredible. The Dark Crystal is my favorite of the Henson films.
Okay.
You can fight me all you want.
We're going to.
Okay, cool. Because get excited. So after Age of Resistance dropped, Netflix struck a deal with a museum in my neighborhood, the Museum of the Moving Image, and they have some of the puppets and some concept art and just like a little display of some of the pieces from Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. And also, the Museum of the Moving Image has a permanent Jim Henson exhibit. So in this exhibit, you've got Big Bird and Kermit, and you've got some of the signage from the Muppet Show and one of the mock-ups of the church from the Muppet movie. And it's glorious, and I love it. And after Age of Resistance dropped, I had to go. So I walked to the museum last weekend and saw the permanent Henson exhibit again, because it's not the first time I've been to it, and all the new pieces from Age of Resistance, and then went home. But at the gift shop, my partner John bought the Labyrinth soundtrack on vinyl, and we were sitting there making dinner and listening to the Labyrinth soundtrack, which is so good. We decided it was time to rewatch The Labyrinth. So that is what I am bringing. I am bringing you The Labyrinth
Oh, I was expecting.
as my piece. I know. Who knew? It was like we were twisting and turning, and there was like drama in the middle, and oh my goodness. But yeah, so I watched my second favorite non-Muppet Henson flick, Labyrinth.
We're in a non-Muppet. You put that qualifier on it. Okay.
Yes, I definitely put non-Muppet in front of it,
I
because
missed
if
that
you're going
the
to
first time.
going to ask me what I mean, Dark Crystal will always win out of everything. I don't care. Everyone else is wrong, because Dark Crystal is a masterpiece and a work of utter perfection. It is high fantasy to the highest regard in my opinion. And then after that, I have to be a real shitheel and say I would say Muppet Treasure Island. I love that movie.
We're friends.
So
We're friends
much.
now. Yes.
It's so
Okay.
good. It's so
Yes.
good. And then after that, like maybe.
Christmas Carol?
See, I didn't get into Christmas Carol until I was older, and so like while I love it, it doesn't have the same like emotional resonance for me.
But
Just kidding. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. That's actually third. I watched that later in life as an adult, but it's perfect. But yeah, so like Labyrinth is a great movie. I watched. It was actually one of the first non-Muppet Henson movies I ever watched. I watched it when I was in college, which is still a long time to like go without seeing it.
So it holds up.
It's great. I love it. I think it's a wonderful long form Bowie music video.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I do understand a lot of the discourse about it as a piece, sort of dissecting the virtues and the sorrows of growing up. Like I think it's very well done. It's not my favorite piece. I think it just lacks a little bit of the same kind of cohesion.
Did you
Go ahead.
Sorry, have you heard the thing? I don't want to butcher this. There's like a theory that so the babies he kidnaps become the goblins.
Yes.
But all the other like creatures throughout the labyrinth are at one point were like the older sisters of the babies. Have you heard that?
No, that's
And
fascinating.
She gets like all the trash like piled on her, and she almost becomes like the trash haggy woman. That,
yeah.
So it's like all the other creatures used to be like the older sibling or the older sister that got stuck in the labyrinth and basically became a part of it.
That's
Interesting
really
theory.
interesting. That's very cool. I
could
like that
be
as
butchering
a
that
theory.
all to hell, but
That's
yeah.
okay.
that's fine.
Listen, the theory that you just said is also a really interesting and fascinating theory that the entities in the labyrinth are ones that just got trapped there. David Bowie. What a mean guy in that one. What a mean guy. But yeah, it's such a fun watch. Like it's
What
Go ahead.
What's most offensive about David Bowie in the movie? Him kidnapping babies, him trying to seduce underage women, or his cod pieces?
Cod pieces, hands down. Like it's funny because for me as an adult, so I think the last time I watched that was a couple of years ago now. But I used to host a '90s trivia night, and even though Labyrinth is not a '90s movie, I believe it's an '80s movie. We screened it anyway because fuck it.
Because you gotta.
And
Because
so
you do what you won't.
I think we were doing a Muppets trivia or whatever, but or something like that. But anyway, when we watched it, the first time I rewatched it as an adult, and this is probably a decade ago, the only thing I could think about the whole time was his cod piece. Like it was just distracting. Like it was just distracting to me. But upon multiple rewatches more recently, like I still really like Labyrinth. I feel like my biggest issue with it is the pacing is a little off. So I get like a little bored watching it. But that said, like the minute Ludo comes on screen, like I'm just so happy. Like I love Ludo. I love his design. Hoggle is meant to be tired and irritating at times. Like that's the character.
Yeah.
But I love the music, of course. How can you not? But like,
it's only forever.
It's just that there's music in
No
other
time
Disney,
at all.
in other Disney movies not Disney, Muppet movies that stand out more to me. Like talking about your favorite movies before Muppet movies, like the original Muppet movie will always be one of my favorites because of songs like "Can You Picture That?" Like it's just one of those movies that I'm so happy when I get on the other side of it. Like no matter how bad a mood I'm in, if I watch the Muppet movie or even the Great Muppet Caper, I immediately feel better.
Yeah.
But
I feel that way about Labyrinth, to be honest, because
Sure.
it is such a piece I'm weirdly familiar with that it's nice to watch it. And also, I don't think that I'm offended by David Bowie in this piece because he's supposed to be the villain, and also I can't be mad about that like that junk because I can't. I legally can't be mad at David Bowie's junk. It is against my personal law. Also, if you ever go to the Museum of the Moving Image, they do have his costume there.
Of course.
And they have a Skeksis puppet from the original Dark Crystal, and they also have Sarah's costume.
Nice.
It's beautiful. If you ever come to Astoria, listener, come to the Museum of the Moving Image. It rules. It's so cool, and they do like screenings all the time. I love that spot. I should go to it more, considering I'm on a podcast that's about moving images.
That's true. You are
Doing a bad job.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I love Labyrinth. I think it's a great movie. I just think of those movies, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
Although, fun fact, usually Rachel's with the trivia, but I have some trivia. Although in my fashion, I will have missing information. But I saw it confirmed online that apparently the baby from Labyrinth is working on Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. I can't remember what the grown baby's job is, but I saw.
Wait, he's Brian Froud's son.
Yeah, and so
Brian Froud, who does a lot of the artwork and the
he-
and the design of Dark Crystal and Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right, but either way, I saw that article and I was like, "Wow, that's trippy."
Yeah, because when I watched it, I was like, and that baby went on to make Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance when I was watching it. So like, yeah, I think he's the son of of Brian Froud.
that sounds right. I'm sure Rob Strobin will correct us at some
I'm
point.
sure.
Online.
Thank you, Rob, so much. Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast. But yeah,
Note taker. Living memory.
so Rachel Quirky Shank.
Yes.
If you had to sum up, the Labyrinth in 3 words, how would you do it? What would those 3 words be?
It's Bowie, baby.
Excellent. Well done.
That's it. Like,
That's it.
if the 3-word review is to also, if you want to encourage people to view the property that you're talking about, like,
Sure.
David Bowie's in it, so it's Bowie, baby. Done.
That's true. It is one of his most prolific movie roles. That's for sure.
Yeah, that, and what movie is it where he just like shows up at the end and it's the gif of him like taking off the glasses? What movie is that?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh wait, hold on, stop.
It's not Spice World. It can't be Spice
No.
World.
No.
Is it Spice World?
You're not
No.
talking-
He's not in Spice World because he's in.
Zoolander? No.
Is it
Yeah.
Zoolander? It feels
Well,
like
he
it's
rips
Zoolander.
out in the first Zoolander when they're gonna do the walk off, like the secret street fight model
Yes.
off. He's the judge. He like bursts out of the cloud, rips off glasses,
Oh
Very
yes.
good.
and he's gonna
Yes.
judge.
Yeah.
That feels right.
That feels right.
Yeah, because he's like, perhaps I can be of assistance.
Yeah, and then it freeze
Yeah.
frames, and it's like David
Ugh.
Bowie.
David Bowie.
Well done.
Sweet space angel.
All right, guest extraordinaire Pat Edwards. What is the most recent thing you have watched lately?
I'm excited to talk about this because this is a show that I watched the most recent episode today. I waited 2 days to watch it because I wanted it to legit be the last thing that I watched because I want to talk about it because it's a show that I really enjoy, but I feel like it's getting slept on
Okay.
right now, and
I'm
not a lot
already
of people are
excited.
aware of it. It's in its 2nd season. It's called Lodge 49.
I have literally never heard of this.
Me
It's on
neither.
AMC.
Ah, okay.
Same network that has like Preacher and
Yeah.
Walking Dead and all, but it's in its 2nd season. I think it was the 7th or 8th episode of the 2nd season I just watched. It's not like anything on TV. It's all right. So you guys are not. So Rachel, you said you've never heard of it. Matt, have you
Same.
even
Completely unaware.
completely okay? Total blind spot for you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ads for it and the poster and the cast photos. Like I completely missed this. I have no idea what it is.
Have you seen, Matt, have you seen any advertisements for anything Lodge 49, like on your subway or?
No. I'm looking at the poster for it now, and I've never seen this before.
It's been hidden from us here
Yes.
in New York.
Please, Pat, tell us
Elucidate,
all about this.
please.
So okay, so this is gonna happen. So Lodge 49 is about a couple of things. One is let's talk the Lodge.
Okay.
Is it's like the link. It's like a made up, like a Moose Lodge type thing. Those like just kind
Yeah.
of just like fraternal like social clubs, and it's not all guys. It's it's diverse people that there, but it's just social clubs where people hang out in the bar area, and they have like a big hall they rent out for events. But it's like a lot like the Masonic Order, where
Yeah.
now it's more of like a social club, but it has like roots or history a little more occulty, a little more secret.
Ooh.
The people that founded it like 100 years ago took it way more seriously, and now it's just more of like a social club. with an event space. But so that's where a lot of it takes place. So that's, aka it's Lodge number 49 in like the order of the links. And the main character it's in Lodge 49 is in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
And the main character is this guy, Dud, who's like 30, who's just kind of a surfer. He does not have like a stereotypical surfer bum. It's very authentic. Who's never really had direction in his life, who kind of accidentally stumbles into it and becomes a member of it. And I don't want to like spend an hour on this, but I'm trying to distill this. It's really just about all the different characters. So the people that are at the lodge, Dud, who's the main character, and his sister, who are both like early 30s or late 20s, both kind of like screw ups. Their mom's been dead since they were very little. Their dad died like a year ago. The whole point is it's unclear whether he killed himself on purpose or was an accident in the ocean. But it's very existential, just about like finding happiness in life or finding a purpose in life. And there's this whole subplot about the founder of the lodge was really into alchemy, and he had these scrolls that actually cracked the code theoretically of alchemy, like how to create gold out of like nothing essentially. And there are people in the lodge who really believe it, and there are people who are like, that's bullshit fairy tales. We're just trying to have a social club here. Knock it off. I'm all over the place. It's just it's a very enjoyable watch. It's just very unique and whimsical, I'll say, quirky, weird. There's definitely some elements of where it's almost, you think it's skewing into supernatural territory and fantastical, but then it pulls back.
Okay, I was
peeks around the corner and then it
like,
pulls back to reality.
Dealing with any sort of like magical realism.
Well, you can't tell if it's real or if it's people just kind of being very, because everyone in it is really in very different, unique, creative, thoughtful ways. Is that some like really existential moment in their life where they're just where you have like Dud, he worked with their dad and like their pool cleaning company for years until his dad died, and then the business fell apart, and he's really done nothing since then. His sister was on like a track to be a very successful lawyer, but she's very self-destructive. Like she keeps sabotaging. She keeps getting like, she's very super smart, super good at like business and everything, but she keeps self-sabotaging.
Okay.
Like we'll get like fucking wasted and just do something stupid. And then you have these other people at the lodge who are also like self-sabotaging or in these like existential crisis moments. But it's all with this cool like long, I don't know if you're from Long Beach is like, south of Los Angeles. It's kind of it's a beach community, but it's kind of blue collar. Like it's just very unique, I'll say. And I just really love the vibe of it. And I'll go ahead and do my 3 words. I would say it's chill, weird, fun.
Chill, weird, fun.
So, and it's a lot of it is just there's some silliness to it, but literally this most recent episode I just watched, I was on the verge of tears because there was a really good moment in it. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier, where a lot of it is just weird and silly. Yeah. And then they'll have these moments that are super real and deep.
Would you say it is like a character study?
Yeah, I'd say the characters are really yes.
Yeah, because it feels like we've done a lot of like atmospheric discussion and like character discussion. So I just wanted to like get an idea and a feel for it. So it's like sort of like a fun, weird, off the wall character piece.
Because the settings are all very like nondescript. It's like a strip mall, the lodge, one person's apartment. Yeah, very like. The setting, it's beautifully shot, but the settings are actually very like mundane, but on purpose, in like a purposely beautiful way, but mundane. It's very much about like the characters and really just how different people at different stages in their life are trying to find meaning in their existence, or a purpose or a reason to kind of go on, and they all have their different like hang-ups, and they all have their different ideas of what that should be.
Yeah, I'm getting like the weirdest like Fleabag vibes from this description.
I could see it. Yeah, I can see.
Like
I
I
literally just
like really like there's
like
like
a
death, but
California
it's also like
Fleabag
kind of like, you know, like more of a vibe of a piece, you know, dealing with like some darker themes, but also like this highly ridiculous like setup of either like this lodge where someone was an alchemist, or this cafe where it's guinea pig themed. So
Yeah.
I'm getting like a lot of Fleabag vibes from just the way you're explaining it. So I'm just trying
I would
to like,
say, yeah, Fleabag, like Southern California Fleabag is very
I love
fair.
it. I'm okay. Sold. I'm sold.
And then and more I think about it, everybody on the show, like every character is in crisis, like some kind
Yeah.
of personal existential crisis. And I'm thinking about it, everyone they come across, and it's all very different reasons for it. Like careers are falling apart, or personal relationships are falling apart, and it's everyone is very. There's just so much quiet desperation.
Yeah.
Of people just trying to get the thing they think is going to make them everyone's got this different thing they think is going to make them happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something just really appeals to me. Maybe because like we're all creators here, right? So
Yeah.
we're a little, by definition, we're a little broken inside.
Yes.
Only a little.
Only.
I'm being generous.
kind
I'm being
you know, enough to be interesting at parties. You know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's something in us that makes us want to do stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
But I find it, yeah, I feel like nobody talks about it and very few people know about it. And I'm really afraid it's not going to make it to a third season.
Mm-hmm.
I've tweeted about it a couple times. But because I don't know, something about it really like hits home for me. And,
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. So I would love it if you're listening and you're looking for something new. And if you have access to it on some kind of app or streaming service, give Lodge 49 a try.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. You've sold me.
Yeah, I'm into it. I just have to figure out how to get AMC. That's a thing.
I think I can use my cable login that I may or may not be borrowing from a family member.
Very fun.
I'll bet the first season is on something, Hulu or
Yeah.
Netflix or
That's
something
true.
like that.
Probably.
So,
Neat.
Pat
I love
Edwards,
that.
I'm excited that you're on the show. I
Yeah.
have I have more than once said how much a fan of yours I am, and the work you've been doing on Let's Rewatch, your writing, and even the most recently, you were actually on Another Passes live episode. You were Case's guest, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. Where you watched Legend 6 times like a psychopath.
I just I was talking about somebody with this on another show, and I have this bad habit of sticking to my word. Where if I say something in a joke on a podcast or something, I will do my damnedest to follow through
Oh no.
on that.
So you said somewhere
mean-
you were going to watch it 6 times, and so you had
Yeah.
to watch it 6 times.
And I was like, honor demands it.
Now, question about this, because I'm fascinated by the logistics. You're getting very like Tim and Guy from Worst Idea of All Time for me. Did you watch it 6 times in a row, or did you watch
Dear
it
God, no.
over 6 like consecutive days, or did you like
Within a
like-
month.
It was in a month. Okay, so you got 6 viewings in within 4 weeks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I just needed to know what kind of madman I was discussing
Well,
movies
and-
with.
Yeah, 6 times in a row. I mean, Rachel, I don't know if I actually have 2 very small children, so I don't think I'd be able to explain away 12 hours straight sitting in front of the TV screen
Yeah.
watching Tom Cruise and Mia Sarah to my wife. Like, why are you not helping with the girls? Because I have to watch this again. You just
To watch it. I've got 3 viewings left, sweetie. It's gonna happen.
yes. But yeah, that was a
Listen,
lot
I
of
don't
fun.
know. I don't have kids. I could do it. I could watch Legend 6 times in a row. No one would bat an eye.
I give Case a lot of credit. He did a really good job considering we both were up till like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. the night before.
Oh yeah.
And we had like a 10 a.m. stage time to do the
Nice.
show.
Woof.
Rough. Something I really want to talk about, because I actually haven't heard you talk about it much, maybe just because I haven't been on the right channels, but you have a book called Space Trippin', which
I
is,
do?
I'm pretty sure you do.
Is it a question?
Question mark?
I do.
It's like Anchorman. Who put a question mark on the teleprompter again? I'm Ron Burgundy. Sorry.
Damn it. Okay, hold on. We have to pause this podcast just for a second and say what a perfect read. That's Fred Willard, right? Who like pounds the table, goes,
Oh, yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
That's Fred Willard.
That is literally the greatest read of a line in the history of cinema. Just like he's like not committed to it enough that it's like such a good choice where he's like, it happens every day. You know, it's so, there's just levels to how good that read is.
I mean, Fred Willard also, like, he is one of my favorite comedic actors of all time. He's just brilliant.
Everyone who's in that core group of those Christopher Guest movies is phenomenal.
Oh, so
Always.
good. Anyway, I'm sorry I derailed for a second.
No,
I
you're
just
good.
really had to give credit where credit's due as such a good read.
But Pat, I wanted you to talk about your book a little bit and what it's about and where folks can find it and what inspired you to write it. You know, all those big questions.
You know, the big questions. Why are you here? What are you doing?
That's why I watch shows like Lodge 49 to figure out why I'm here. The book, as you mentioned, it's called Space Tripping, and it's a comedy space opera about some aliens and one human. There's just one human, I'll spoil it, in the whole book, and who accidentally
humans are the worst.
finds himself in this intergalactic alien society, and is him and with his new buddies are basically in ping-ponging between getting drunk and trying to avoid dying.
Sounds
And
relatable.
I'd say it's very imagine if I used to say imagine if The Hangover took place in space. Now I'm going to say imagine if The Hangover took place in space and had nothing problematic.
That's fair.
Very fair.
But so it's I don't know how much you want me to go into detail, but that's, I mean, kind of the byline, I'd say, of it. It's the main character, Chuck and Jop, and they're just kind of both a couple of screw-ups who are just trying to get by in a crazy intergalactic society. Just meant to be a very fun read. Honestly, that was kind of my rule of thumb writing it. And for most things I work on, at the end of the day, fun rules everything. Where I want this to be, want it to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
I want this to be something that people enjoy reading and consuming. And that's most things I do. That's kind of at the end of it all. It's that will override if I have a personal message or something I want to get out there. It's more about, is this going to be an enjoyable piece of content for someone to consume? Mm-hmm. And that's where that overrides all other creative motivations for me personally. At least this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
It's currently, it's been out for a few years now. Was nominated for a Dragon Award at Dragon Con in Atlanta.
Cool.
Did not win. Lost to the gentlemen who write the books that were the inspiration for that show, The Expanse.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, hey, that's still good company to
it's a
keep.
phenomenal show. Great books. They're great. They're, by all rights, excellent human beings too. I know. But
I should have gotten it.
No, they're very good.
I'm joking.
The sequel is written. It's currently in like pre-production right now.
Oh, nice.
My editing phase and polishing, hoping that it hits the shelves next year, 2020.
Cool.
And in the meantime, you can, if you're interested, you can get the first one, as we said in the beginning. It's available in ebook and paperback and Audible for audiobook.
Do you read the Audible version?
I do not. So okay. Audible purchased exclusive rights, and then they have this massive stable of pre-approved voice actors.
Uh-huh.
So an actual voice actor did it.
Cool.
His name's Nick Dukowski. He's great.
Awesome.
Cool.
He did a very good job. You can find the book if you do not want to support Amazon. You're welcome. That's your choice to make. If you want the paperback, you can get it. You can order it. You can go to the stores, or you can go to your local store and ask them to order it for you. The ebook's available on Amazon. Same with Audible, the audiobook. And then I have a short story that came out at the beginning of this year in an anthology called so there's this new publishing entity called The Writing Block, BLOC.
Okay.
and it was started by a group of indie authors who I know, and they're doing really cool things. And they put out their first anthology in January of 2019 this year. It was called Escape. So there's 20 stories, and all have some kind of escape theme to them.
Very
I got one of
cool.
them. I have another one coming out in their next anthology, which should be out before the end of the year. And that one, the name and the theme is Deception.
Ooh, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have not gotten around to reading Space Tripping yet, but it's on my list. And it's funny, I keep dropping the G. Like, I just want to say Space Trippin'. I don't know why. I
Because
just
he's
dropped that
space tripping.
G.
One way ticket, yeah. What?
But
What happened?
but yeah,
Really?
it's definitely on my to read list. I'm also a very slow reader, so like for me to read anything, so I may actually invest in the audiobook because
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of the more recent books I consumed have all been audiobooks. I tend to prefer that. Who knew? The guy who has 4 podcasts and listens to 30 podcasts prefers audiobooks. That's a
It's
shocker.
almost like we make a thing that we like because we like the thing. Because
Yeah.
I too am a much more avid listener to books than I am someone who's like reading books,
Yeah.
because it's such a lovely thing to engage with when your hands are busy.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
like I just sit at my desk or like work at my workstation, and there's always somebody talking to me in my head. Whether it's
You want to hear something
yeah, go for it.
that's going to blow your mind? I am a podcaster and a writer, and
Yeah.
I adore books and I adore podcasts. I don't really listen to a lot of audio books. I like
That's okay.
reading books still.
It's a tough sell. Like my
I
mom
listen
is
to a ton of podcasts. I don't know, something about books I like to read.
Yeah.
And I read plenty of ebooks too. Most I actually read are ebooks.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
no,
one of those purists about like the paper. I mean, I have some in physical copies.
Yeah.
But
I think
Yeah, it's
honestly,
weird.
I think Debbie Shank, former guest of this podcast, really put it best when discussing audiobooks over regular books. She's like, I like to, when it's time to read, engage with what I'm reading, and I can't really do that if someone's talking to me. I can get
Yeah.
distracted versus if there's just a really good paragraph that just happened, I can go back and like touch it again and go, I'm going to go back and just like really live in that paragraph. So I think there are virtues to I mean, any way you want to consume media, there's virtues to it. But yeah, so like, please don't think because Matt and I are just cretins who can't read.
oh, I don't think you're judging.
No, absolutely not. But
And I'm also
yeah.
one of those people who thinks that if you listen to audiobooks, you are consuming books. It
Yeah,
counts
you
as
are reading.
I'm not
Yeah,
one of those like
absolutely.
assholes. It's
Yeah,
no,
of course
it's
not.
Yeah,
No,
it's-
this we're going full Planet Fitness right now. We're a judgment-free zone.
I mean, I also like I would put myself in the knuckle dragger category anyway when it comes to that stuff, because I just consume that stuff slowly. But also, a lot of the books I read are more or less biographies. Like I like biographies, especially as audiobooks, because then it's usually the author reading a book that they wrote in their own voice, and so
Yeah.
that's more interesting to me. But I've done some fiction as well. I think I listened to the first Harry Potter, which Stephen Fry read, which was the delight.
Yeah,
nice.
didn't Jim Daly did the audiobook of Harry Potter, and it's so good. He does
Oh,
all the
maybe it was Jim
voices,
Daly.
and it's
Yeah.
amazing, and it's so
I think
good.
I could do nonfiction
Yeah.
audiobooks. I think I
Yeah.
would have an easier time consuming those. Yeah, but something about it, like you were saying, Rachel, something about like like a story and characters. I don't know that I'm really. I like being fully focused on
Yeah.
and not doing anything else, and just I have my own voices in my head for how they sound,
Yeah.
and I also like to kind of go back if something crazy happens. I'll go, like, what did I just read that right? And go back and read it again, and or if there's just something that's just really, really beautifully written, just kind of looking at it. I know
Yeah.
that sounds so lame.
Oh,
but
no, it
just
doesn't.
like,
It's fine.
Not
like
at
what
all.
I know, such a dork. What a beautiful sentence that is.
Yeah.
And,
Trust me, we all
I
have.
really enjoy that.
We have plenty of dorky moments on this show. You're in good company.
Yeah, you're in
I
great
just-
company.
I pointed out because I just think it's funny to me that I like these two things very much, like podcasting and reading and writing,
Right.
but not necessarily the intersection of them,
Right.
Whereas I'll say another thing I am a huge coffee drinker, and as you can probably tell by the theme of a lot of my writing, I enjoy cocktails, but I do not like hot alcohol.
No.
Can't stand it.
No, that's legit.
Bad choice.
But
Bad choice.
yep.
But I also don't like any hot beverages. I'm not a huge hot coffee drinker. I'm not a huge hot tea drinker. I like my liquids to be room temperature or colder. I'm a weirdo like that.
You are.
Oh, I love hot coffee. I like cold brew too. I love a good cold brew. But I love hot coffee, but I do not like hot coffee with alcohol in it. Something about hot alcohol does not sit well with like my throat or my stomach. I just don't. It doesn't feel. It feels like it's too like medicinal.
It gets weird. I will
That's
say, if we're gonna air our weirdnesses on this particular
it.
episode of Screen Snark, I think one of the reasons that I particularly enjoy podcasts and audiobooks as a means of consumption is my inner voice. Like I make media where my voice is my instrument. Like I work with it all of the time, and I've come to a point where I do not dislike the sound of my own voice. You know, like I'm fine to have the monitor on when I'm recording myself or whatever, and like I can listen back to the sounds that I make with the meat flesh that is my face. That's a weird way to put it. But my inner monologue is so much that it's nice to not have myself read to me when I'm reading a book, because I will vocalize it in the same way that a lot of people read, and I will be like, and Quoth looked at his friend and said something weird because he happens to have rolled a nat 20. Thanks, Patrick Rothfuss, forever for making the most perfect being / unreliable narrator. So for me, it's nice to hear other people put their spin on it and take me to the place. That's
Sure.
all.
No,
I like the sound of my own voice. I don't like the sound of my inner monologue.
No, that's legit. Like,
Yeah.
For me, book reading. I mean, this is a show about screens, but we're talking about books. It's fine.
Books can be on screens. If
I was about to
anybody's
say,
mad
you can
about
read books
that,
on
you can
screens.
stop listening to this show.
But like for me, reading an actual book has to kind of be an event for me. Like the most recent book, and this came out a while ago, but the most recent time I recall reading a book and being really excited to read a book is when Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane came out. Because came out not shortly after me and my spouse had started dating, but we had been together a while, and we had first met at a Neil Gaiman event. And so like we were really excited about the book coming out. And then like before going to bed, we would take turns reading chapters. And that was really awesome for me. I mean, mostly like aloud, we would read to each other, and that made that book way more impactful. I probably remember it better than a lot of other books I've read because it became even more personal because we were reading it to each other. I know that's super sappy, but
No,
there it is.
I think it's gorgeous.
That's not at all. If my partner and I had more time to like do that, we would be reading The Hobbit together, like taking turns on chapters.
Oh, mind you, we did this many years ago. We definitely don't have the time to do it now. We're both way too busy. You know, again, guy with 4 podcasts and a Twitch stream. So, like, I don't know what free time is. But I do want to shift gears before we wrap up to talk about Let's Rewatch, a podcast that I have guested on and was a lot of fun. And I'm going to recommend Rachel as a great guest for the future.
I might have an
already
idea
gonna-
of what movie I would want to bring to the table.
Well, you just watched Labyrinth, so you can't. It's got to be something you haven't seen in a while.
No, it wouldn't be Labyrinth. Please don't worry. I've watched a lot of movies in my childhood. I was a kid who was raised on movies and TV. So I've got plenty. I actually have 2 really good ones, and I don't want to say them on air because I don't want anyone to snake them, but I feel pretty confident. Just
All right. Well, I'll get your email from Matt after this.
For
and
sure.
We'll commiserate.
oh boy.
But
Oh,
but I
boy.
want to talk about Let's Rewatch because I had a blast being a guest, and as a fan of the show, I love listening to it. I want to talk about your specific involvement with it because, as I recall, you were a guest early on, and then you became a regular. So how did that transpire?
Yeah.
So, the first person I knew from Let's Rewatch was Ash, and we were just kind of like online friends, just aspiring creative people who I somehow got, we followed each other on Twitter, and we would, retweet each other's stuff. Like, she had a new YouTube video come up. I'd, just being very supportive. And then when Space Tripping was first coming out, I was hustling for, trying to get on as many podcasts as I could and get book signings going. And I was actually really fortunate enough. I guess fortunate. It's kind of a fallen hero for me. Back when At Midnight was still a thing, I went to a taping. That was before all of the that was that, the whole like like when you never meet your he who shall not be named used to be kind of my number one personal hero. Not so much anymore.
Mine too. I started podcasting because I was emulating him, and I've shifted that heroism. So I feel you.
I pursued a career in writing because my now wife and I did long distance for a while, and I would listen to his podcast, and he'd always talk about just make your thing, just go do it. And then all the stuff came out. I was like, oh no, but I got to do the right thing. So, so I had all this stuff lined up in that area, like in Los Angeles, talking to people and doing promotional things, and they had me on as a guest, and it was a ton of fun, and we really hit it off. And then I ended up guesting over the next year like 3 more times.
Oh wow!
So it's like 4 times as a guest, and we just all really clicked really well. And then there were 4 hosts at that time. One of them had to, for personal and professional reasons, nothing bad. There was no like rift or anything like that. It was just he had to leave, so they reached out to me and we got on a call, and they said, "Hey, this is kind of nowhere, but do you want to be the new host with us permanently?" And I said, "Hecky yes." And then I'm actually just coming up on, it'll be sometime I gotta look when the first episode aired. We're coming up. We're almost at a year
where you've been a permanent guest,
a full-time host of the show.
Nice.
And it's been a ton of fun, and we've all become pretty darn close friends, and really, really enjoy it.
I mean, that crew is really great. Like, I met all of the Let's Rewatch crew through Case, of course, who like was on one of your episodes, and then I made like an outlandish comment, like I do on pretty much every podcaster I like their show, going, "Hey, if you need a guest, I'll do the thing." And you guys actually took me seriously, and so the Wayne's World episode happened, which was a blast. Though I am still.
Well, don't worry, we asked Case first. We're like, "What's this guy's deal?"
Oh, I'm sure.
No, we're just kidding. No, we're just kidding. No. I mean, no.
I know.
But I mean, it's this whole thing is so fun. Just meeting people, and you just meet people in different ways, and you click, and you get that quick. We're all on the same wavelength, and like Case and I. Do you know how Case got linked up with us?
I don't.
I just imagine that Case is a space wizard
in Columbus, Ohio, a couple of years ago. After the live show, just kind of randomly, him and I were after the live show, a bunch of people went to like a pizza place, and him and I just randomly started talking and like sat down and had like drunken 2 a.m. pizza together.
Nice.
Aww.
I was like, "Yeah, man, look me up." And we just follow each other on Twitter, and then he's like, "You want to come on?" Actually, I did Certain POV first. It was the first show I did.
Cool.
On the CPO. So this is great. I'm also trying to dominate the CPOV network.
That's fine. I mean, I've got other shows. I'm just saying, we'll make it happen.
This is, I think, the 4th. I've done this, Another Pass, Scruffy Nerf Herders. Yeah, this is 4.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a couple to go.
Wow.
But
you've done more Certain POV shows than I have, and I'm part of the Ding Dang Network.
How dare you, Matthew?
I don't know I don't know that's true, Rachel, because you were on Real Movie News and Reviews. You were on Another
Well, no,
Pass.
I was Real Movie News and Reviews. I wasn't on it. I wasn't.
I thought.
Oh,
you
I
were
guess
a guest.
so.
Yeah, you were. You were definitely a guest. You talked about Spider-Man.
I did. Oh, right. Never mind. I forget. Again, I said this before, and now it has to be on the stinger. I have a terrible memory, and I'm going to rely on everyone else to be my living memory. Everyone has to be an archivist for the life that is me. I just have no room. I'm too busy singing anime theme songs in my head.
That's fair.
But I guess we've alluded to it, but I guess I should say the concept of the show.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, we did discuss it on Ash's episode, but
yes,
I mean.
But for those of you whose first episode this is, why?
Yeah.
Go ahead and explain Let's Rewatch.
It's we take movies we loved in our youth and rewatch them to see if they're still any good.
Yeah.
So we'll, talk about a movie for maybe 20 to 30 minutes without having seen it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What do we remember? Do you think it's going to hold up?
Yeah.
and then we pause the recording and all watch it right then and there, and then immediately get back on and in the moment talk about our feelings and our reactions
I love
and how
that
did
concept
it go.
so
And
much.
sometimes, and this is not a show this is not a like a flop house or a how did this get made. This is
Yeah.
not a purposely get a bad movie and rip it to shreds.
Yeah.
There are those episodes where a movie was not good and we do rip it to shreds, but there's ones where we talk about how great it was and what we liked about it. And it's we go into every movie optimistic, right?
Yeah.
We
Right.
go in with good intentions, wanting to like it.
Unless you're Brett and you're watching Bring It On, then maybe not so much. Yeah, no, and that's what I love about the show. Like when I was on it, what was really cool about the process is that we sat and chatted about Wayne's World, and then we all paused and took a break, except for Brett because he bailed on that episode. Still mad. Love you, Brett. You'll be on the show eventually.
I believe Brett was busy because to prepare for this
Yeah.
I did
Very
listen
busy
to
yeah.
some of the Wayne's World episode, and if I may interrupt the flow of this to present my own take on this podcast, listening to you guys come back from watching it and hearing that energy that you had reminded me that Wayne's World is a very good movie.
Yep.
Where it's just like you can hear. For anyone who has not been listening to Let's Rewatch, may I be your Sherpa into it and just say it's very fun because there's just like this sort of, conversational energy, and you can feel the shift of like we've now engaged with the piece and it has altered us. It's very good.
Yeah.
At least for the Wayne's World one. Like I can only imagine if it's like a really like terrible film where you're like, I thought this was
Go
good.
listen,
And I
go
just
listen to the Boondock Saints.
That's what I was gonna say.
boy, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
like,
You want the opposite energy of the Wayne's World.
yeah,
Watch
Let's
that
Rewatch
one.
is now going to be my busy work voice sound thing.
Yeah.
Because there was just something so fun and engaging and alive about that
Thank you.
moment. Just getting back from we're here, we're doing this, like the honesty of it. I loved it. I think it's such a brilliant way to run a content machine.
And it's also a pretty good sign if I like engage with something and go, fuck, why didn't I think of that? It's
Yeah.
usually probably a pretty good show. As I do that often. And what I love about Let's Rewatch also is like what you were saying, Pat, is like that the conceit of the show is that we're not going to bash it. However, if something is hyper problematic, like all of Boondock Saints, you will call it all out and mention it. And like, you're not afraid to point out fat shaming and like, homophobia and transphobia and any of that stuff. And like, what's really interesting also going into the show, being a listener of it, was my first concern about Wayne's World was, and I say it on the episode, like, I hope there isn't any sexist stuff, because the rest of the stuff I don't really remember there being. But I was just worried that some of the romance was handled poorly, and it ended up not being handled poorly at all, which was really a huge relief.
Yeah.
And I think it's really great that all of you, first of all, it's two ladies and two dudes, so you have a diverse perspective, but you all have very different backgrounds too. So like, no one's coming into this thing just going like, all movies are good and blah blah blah. Like you all have different takes and different perspectives. And like, while I was poking fun at Brett before, what was great about the Bring It On episode, and I happen to love Bring It On like the rest of you, is that he's giving another perspective. He didn't like it, and he explained why he didn't like it, and he did explain the parts that he did like, and like, it's never just, nobody shuts each other down. All of you want to like perpetuate the conversation and discuss what you took from these movies. And it's even more fun when one of the hosts or multiple hosts haven't seen the movie ever, and then they're watching it for the first time now, because then the expectations are even more completely skewed.
Yeah, I think we just did one where none of us except the guest, or maybe I forgot. We just did. So actually, that company that published that and these anthologies, they've got some stories coming in the writing block. One of the founders was on, and his suggestion we did Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh my god!
And I had not seen it. I know at least 3. Maybe Brett I forgot if Brett or Sam, one of them had seen it.
I haven't seen
But
it since high school.
I don't spoil it, but Brett and Sam know the director.
Oh, wow.
Of that movie. See, they've worked with him before. Kyoto Brothers. But Yeah, it's
Oh boy.
no, but it's yeah. I like the ones where I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have a decent memory for. I have a not a great memory for life, but for pop culture, like, sometimes, or at least movies. Something about movies sticks to me really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was so happy, Matt, when you picked Wayne's World, because I loved that movie and enjoyed it, and I also, like you, was very, very happy that it was clean, like it came through clean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, what was really great was that it was genuinely made me laugh out loud sitting in front of my computer with headphones on, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you watch a lot of comedies by yourself, and you do the equivalent of, oh, that's funny, you know, by just kind of watching it and absorbing the humor, but you don't necessarily laugh out loud. But there were definitely moments in Wayne's World that still made me smile from ear to ear or laugh out loud. Pretty much any time Wayne talked to the screen, like I grinned so hard.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I and I'm excited to come back in the future as, like,
For sure.
Sam has pretty much said there's one movie that I've talked about on this show a bunch too, but Scott Pilgrim is almost 10 years, is just about or is 10 years old.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, "Oh, you have to come back for that." I was like, so hopefully that happens at some time in the future, because I've got a lot to say about that movie. And how Scott Pilgrim is a dick, and he is not
Scott
to be
Pilgrim's
idolized.
the worst. Scott Pilgrim's
trash.
the worst. Ramona's the
Yeah,
worst. They're the worst. They're give them
But
them
I
the
love
trash.
that movie,
color.
but yeah,
Oh
they're
yeah, the
not
movie's so good.
people.
Yeah.
The movie's so good, but they're trash people. But I think
Or
that's really
knives.
fascinating, though, as sort of like a shift, you know. And I feel like we haven't seen a movie like Scott Pilgrim, not just because it's like deeply a comic referencing video games and superhero motifs, utilizing actors who would eventually become superheroes in our time. But I think it's just really fascinating that, and thinking about Fleabag and Lodge 49,
Yes.
this interesting shift of having these existential stories, these like not necessarily lovable beings be
Right.
our avatars in television. I think I don't know how familiar either of you are with the works of like Tennessee Williams or Anton Chekhov, but like the idea of like the human struggle in its like raw, nasty, real way is really just appearing more on our television shows than in our movies, because a lot of times like our movies are trying to get the most people to like them. And I think that's so fascinating that you can have shows where you're really dealing with terrible people, your Walter Whites, your entire cast of Succession, or at least what I understand that Succession is just a bunch of bad people being bad. And they're thriving there, you know, like we've really shifted from Glengarry Glen Ross being a Hollywood picture to it being a 6-episode miniseries. I think that's so fascinating. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it just like thinking about a lot of things, you know. I think it's so weird.
Well, to bring it full circle, like going back to Scrubs, because everything comes back to Scrubs. I think
Everything comes back to Scrubs.
I think the reason
Yeah.
at the end of the day I really love that show is because the main character JD and one of the other main characters Dr. Cox are both incredibly flawed, problematic, not good people. JD gets better, but like in the first 3 or 4 seasons, JD is a terrible, self-centered.
Oh, he's so
sucks.
shitty to the women in his life.
And you know, there are really good people who, like Chris Turk is, you know, one of the better people on the show who is still imperfect, and Carla and Elliot all have their problems but are portrayed a little better. But the fact that all those characters have all those flaws, none of them are nice. Dr. Kelso, you know, all of them, the Todd, like none of these characters are really genuinely good people.
Yeah.
There's some truth in it, and it brings out a lot of good stuff. Like when Dr. Cox has a breakdown, or when Dr. Cox does open up in those moments and rewards JD with some of the companionship he's craving, like it feels more real because we're dealing with these characters who are not necessarily overall good people.
Yeah. But then I miss seeing that beautiful tragic flaw in,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just because I've been watching too many Marvel movies. Thanks, Infinity Podcast. To get the range of humanity that is inherent in in what I choose to consume on television, you know, where you have characters who have problems and have issues that aren't, I have to punch the Nazi now, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I will forever say that I think television is where art is coming from,
Sure.
to me.
Oh, these days, absolutely.
You know, I think it's so fascinating, the range of properties we bring to the table, and how much more engaging just describing a television show sounds.
Yeah. Well, and I think in streaming culture, it makes it easier to engage with a lot of that stuff on that level. Like, I'm really bummed they actually announced today that Hulu is not moving forward with the Ghost Rider live action series with Gabriel Iglesias,
Well, yeah.
who
Yeah.
like was phenomenal in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'm bummed about that because Ghost Rider, as we know, did not work as a movie twice. But I think that character, who could be fairly one-dimensional, can be better written and more approachable in a TV series, which we're not getting now.
I mean, there's
Well-
a decent amount of lore you got to flesh out,
Right.
and it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, if you have not watched Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance with Nick Cage and Idris Elba, I highly recommend it because it is gloriously awful in a phenomenal way.
I love a bad good movie.
I didn't even realize, is Idris Elba the bad guy? in
No,
it?
he's one of the good guys. The bad guy is I can't remember the actor's name, but he often plays like douchey characters in a lot of movies. You'll recognize him once you see him.
Okay.
But yeah, I highly recommend it. Well, we're gonna wrap up in a moment. I just want to thank Pat Edwards for being
Thank
our
you,
guest.
Pat.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys for having me.
This was a blast, and we have one final question for you. But before that, let's wrap things up, Rachel.
Yes, thank you so much to John Presnell for the use of the song Aurora off the album Fair Game featuring Stefan Remble.
I want to thank Katie Bugg for our incredible artwork logo. Thank you so much, Katie, for depicting us in cartoon form.
Also, Logol is the unseen character who is in the labyrinth somewhere.
Right, Logol. He's Hoggle's cousin.
Yeah.
Logol.
Definitely some relation. Anyway,
Can,
do we talk about the Certain Point of View Network after that?
Not yet.
Or-
We usually
Okay,
do.
cool. Okay, cool.
Can I,
Yes.
Sorry, can I throw one? I know we talked about my book and Let's Rewatch. Can I throw one other plug in real quick?
Absolutely.
Of course.
I apologize. Yeah. So, two real quick. Well, one is I am not currently an active cast member. I'll probably go back and hop in and out, but pretty regular cast member of two D&D themed things. One is a podcast called For Whom the Dice Roll.
Okay.
It's one of real play. We play D&D.
Yeah.
And then as of yesterday, we had our first session. I have a new endeavor with Geekly Inc. The Geekly Inc. If you're familiar with, they have Geekly Con where Casey and I went, and they have a slew of shows. Their most popular, one of their most is Greetings Adventurers, formerly called Drunks and Dragons.
Okay.
We
Familiar.
with one of the main. So do you know Tim Lanning? He's one of the main founders of Geekly.
Okay,
and cast
yeah.
member.
No, I was gonna wait for you to get to the end of it, but yes, I'm deeply familiar. I'm very excited for you.
Okay, so we had our first session yesterday. It's going to come out as a podcast and be available on VOD, but we are streaming on Twitch Descent into Avernus, the new module that came out.
Nice.
And Tim Lanning is DMing.
Cool.
And I'm one of the players, and we have a fantastic cast of folks. And it's usually going to be Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. If you go to the Geekly Inc. channel or Greetings Adventurers channel, look for the Happy Hell Hour. And we're going into hell, in D&D hell.
I love that.
And have a lot of fun. So you can watch us live on Twitch, or if you want to sit tight, it will come out as a podcast or on VOD.
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
That rules. That rules so hard. I love actual play podcasts. They're gonna keep them forever. They're I love it.
I actually listened to I was actually listening to those actual play podcasts before the first time I played D&D.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's what got me like, all right, I have to play this game.
Yeah, it's what.
I mean, it's been a long time. It's been years.
Yeah.
But they were,
It's especially like after I know we're supposed to end the show like now, but
Sorry, yes.
no, it's fine. Now we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and it's all I want to do all of the time. Especially when 5e came out, because it was such a module that was focused more on the element of storytelling. I'm not kidding when I say this. I read the foreword of the D&D 5e player's handbook, and I got so choked up because it was just this foreword of like, hey, you're going to make a story with your friends, and it's going to change you in ways that you don't expect. So like essentially, like, I guess the rules are here, but also like just go do the thing. And I love it. And I think it's such a beautiful way to get together with people you care about and build things, you know, out of your mind gunk.
Yeah.
Build things out of your mind gunk. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't listen to a lot of actual play podcasts. It goes back to the whole listening to narrative podcasts is hard because I need something in the background that I can only loosely focus on. But that said, I love playing D&D and Pathfinder, and I've been playing for decades, and I've been playing with the same core 5 or 6 people for well over 10 years now through the internet, because we're not all in the same place anymore. And so, but I will definitely check those out. I recently did start listening to Queer Dungeoneers and a couple of other podcasts that are actual play podcasts. And so I'm excited to check out more stuff when I have some downtime. So I'll definitely check those out.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, let's do the thing that we promised to do a while ago. So, Pat Edwards, as a crafter of story yourself, I'm sure you're aware that there are some certain events that could happen in your stories that you craft that might be a little too familiar to exist in an original crafted piece. We here at Screen Snark like to call those little bits of fun a trope. But you know, tropes are fun even if they're repetitive. And I'm wondering, Pat Edwards, if you could choose any of these literary, filmic, televisional tropes to be true in your life, what trope would you choose?
Oh, I love tropes though. Oh man,
Tropes are fun, yeah. But like, one's gonna be true in your life, for better or worse.
What's gonna be true?
Yeah, that's just gonna come true. Like, you don't have to say goodbye to people. You just hang up the phone and it's fine. Trope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know.
Oh man, dang it. Okay, give me 10 seconds.
No worries.
Here.
Take your time.
Vamp.
I love the fact that we don't ever tell the guests this is coming, because then it's natural.
I love
as
it
they're
too.
racking their brain to figure out what to say.
Yeah.
The
I
couple
would
of-
like to amend the answer that I've given in the past, and I would like very much for people to be victims of dramatic irony.
I think I have my answer.
Okay.
I think I like the trope where basically doing the seemingly wrong or irresponsible thing in a situation just always ends up earning the respect of.
It works
like,
out in the end.
Go into an interview and like throw a glass of ice water in the interviewer and like, I like your moxie, you're hired.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes,
that's
that's
so
great.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
That it works out every time, that they just happen to do
Yes.
the bad thing because they're fed up. Like, I mean, Office Space made a whole movie about that, like him just being fed up and
Yes.
done, and they consider him a go-getter for doing it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a good one.
Or, yeah. I was thinking, honestly, what inspired it was, it's been a while since I watched it, but either of you watched the show Californication?
Yes.
No.
I bet that does not hold. It's not even that old of a show, but I bet there's a lot.
There's no way.
Does not hold
Yeah,
up.
for sure.
But basically, yeah, the main character is a writer who is like just the worst fuck up of all imagined. Yet he keeps falling ass backwards into like incredible opportunities.
Oh, he fails
like, career
upwards.
and life.
Very good.
Yes, like. Yeah, like, and it's a lot of that, like, you're real, you're the real deal, you know. here's $1 million to write this script. You know, you showed up half drunk and without pants to our fancy meeting. You're the real deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's ridiculous. I
That's
love
good.
that.
Well done.
yeah.
Well,
I'm basically saying I want to show up half drunk and without pants to a very important meeting and then get the job.
there you go. That sounds like a plan.
Oh my gosh, I do that for this podcast. Hooray for me. Let me
Well-
fail up.
Well,
Someone
thank you for that.
verify me on Twitter.
Yeah, right. I'm still waiting for that one. Well, thank you, Pat.
Thank you,
This has
Pat.
been a pleasure. I'm so glad we got you on the show and that you were available. And I look forward to coming on Let's Rewatch again and ruining that show for everyone. Because I'm good at that.
Listen, don't sell yourself so short, Matt Storm. If anyone's going to ruin that show, it will be me.
That's true. Rachel and I both suffer from low self-esteem and depression. Can anyone tell? Anyway.
Hey, don't diagnose me with your stuff. I have very high self-esteem. I just love self-deprecating humor.
That's true. That's true, actually.
I rule, but I
You do
also
rule.
suck really bad. So there's that. What a dichotomy.
I empathize with Rachel on that.
Okay.
I definitely will ping pong. It's like I'm
I
fucking awesome.
am
I am a piece of shit.
Great.
Yes.
God, why does anybody even want to listen to what I have to
Yes.
say? Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I want to take a moment and say thank you so much to the Certain Point of View Podcast Network for letting us continue to be on our bullshit as part of your beautiful podcast family. Please, if you like our show, why? But if you don't like our show, good for you. There's a lot of other shows that are nothing like the ones we do right here on Screen Snark. You can check out some actual play. You can check out some game-specific game podcast. I'm going to try that again. Some game-specific game podcast. So yeah, go check it out. Hang out with this on the Discord server. I actually did just ask a question, so if anybody wants to answer it, I actually engaged. And thank you so much to our guest, Pat.
Thank you guys for having me. I've had a lot of fun.
No worries. Thank you so much to my co-host, Matt, aka Stormageddon.
Thank you to my co-host, Rachel Quirky Shank. We will see you at the movies or maybe on a couch somewhere soon.
Maybe. Consensually, obviously. Like, we're not just
Obviously.
going to show up.
Always consensual.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Aurora.